Are you faithfully taking your vitamins and minerals, but you still feel tired and drawn out? Do you promise yourself constantly that you're going to start that workout tomorrow? But you just can't seem to find the energy to get started? Are you constantly plagued with sneezing and runny noses and allergies and you can't find the reason why? Do you have constant aches and pains and you're figuring, how can I get rid of those? Hi, I'm sure you've related to at least 2 or 3 of those questions. My name is Russ Chason and I'm going to be your host here, and we're going to be sharing with you some very vital information about the most powerful computer in the world, your human body. We're going to be talking about some of the issues surrounding us from a pollution standpoint in our environment, how they affect the human body. We're going to have some doctors talk about those problems and what they found in their research. We're going to visit with some people who have found a solution that's very amenable and something that has really helped them immediately and over the long term. And lastly, and most importantly, we're going to show you how you can participate in a very simple solution on a daily basis. Okay, let's first address this thing called environmental pollution. And a good way to start is an article was recently published that said 60,000 toxins a day. No wonder our maladies won't go away. It's all around us. 60,000 synthetic chemicals in the last 20 years. Furniture, carpet, clothes we wear, detergents, perfume, everywhere get stuck in the body. The air we breathe, get out on the freeway. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You can see the pollution coming out all of the exhaust, yellow clouds around a lot of cities. What about the food we eat? You read a label, it's just loaded with words you can't even pronounce. There are excitotoxins and neurotoxins that get into your body, get stuck. Water, what about the water that we drink? We told, go find purified water. Then we find it in a plastic bottle and they say the plastic is putting off toxins, so don't do it, et cetera, et cetera. You don't know where to go finding the purified water. So we just know that we're loaded with environmental pollution everywhere. Food, air, water, exhaust, everywhere we go. Here to share with you some thoughts on this environmental pollution issue and how it affects the human body is Dr. Levi Panganson. He's been in the medical practice for several years, head of one of the largest hospitals in the Philippines, internal medicine, been here in the United States for several years, and is an advocate of wellness. So here to share his thoughts, Dr. Levi Panganson.
Now this time I would like to talk to you about the importance of oxygen. We know very well that we can't live without food for 40 days. We cannot live without water beyond 5 days. And we cannot live without oxygen beyond 6 minutes. So you see how important this is. Now every one of us wants to have energy. In fact, that's the reason why everybody has to eat. In fact, if I have no energy, I should not be here. But the thing is, everyone wants energy. In fact, you could hear a lot of people saying, oh, I don't have energy. And so what is energy? If we come up to the definition of energy, science says energy is the capacity to do work. In other words, I'm able to speak all because I have energy. And you're able to listen to me today because you have energy. The question is, where will you get energy? Okay? Energy should be coming from the food you eat. Okay? Without the food, there is no energy. And without energy, there is no work. So energy is the capacity to do work, and energy can only be there in the presence of food. Okay? Now, so there are 3 different kinds of substance known to be the source of energy, and that is your carbohydrates, your fats, and proteins. Carbohydrates, before they can be converted into energy, the body has to make that into simple sugar. But even if you have the simple sugar, unless there is oxygen, you will not produce energy. There are 2 ways for which the body can produce energy. We have what we call anaerobic metabolism, meaning that the glucose, or the glucose that is converted to energy is converted without the presence of oxygen. And the problem with this is, when you have glucose converted to energy in the absence of oxygen, you will produce more waste. Now, let's remember this, that every single cell in the body as soon as they produce energy, they always would produce waste material. And you will understand what waste is. Okay, now so when you don't have enough oxygen or no oxygen for that matter, you may produce energy, but you will produce a lot of waste. And what are the waste when carbohydrates or sugar is being used for energy? Number one, carbon dioxide. And that's when you exhale, you throw it off. The other waste material out of that reaction is water. Okay? And that's why you perspire, you urinate. And the third waste material that will be produced as a result of sugar without oxygen is lactic acid. Now, what is lactic acid? This is the byproduct of carbohydrate metabolism in the absence of oxygen. So, when you have that accumulated in your system, much more so in the muscles, your muscles become stiff. And this is the reason why you will have pains after you exercise in the absence of oxygen. Now, when this happens, we have what we call in medicine an oxygen debt, meaning you were exercising with a lack of oxygen or no oxygen, so you owe your body oxygen. Okay? And this is the one that would accumulate in your muscles, and if you continue exercising in the absence of oxygen, you know what is going to happen? You will collapse. In other words, you need oxygen for you to be able to have energy, and you have lack of waste. Now, if your body has sufficient amount of oxygen, you will have more energy and less waste. And that should be the most ideal thing that we can do. If we check your blood, your pH in the body will be running between 7.35 to 7.45. That's the normal pH. Okay, the pH of water is 7.0. Here is a line, okay? And on the left side of the line, up to 7 is called acidic. Okay, that's an acidic side. From 7 to 14, that is what we call the alkaline side. Now, the human body is slightly alkaline. As you can see, the 7.35 that I mentioned and the 7.45 is the normal pH. In other words, we are on the alkaline side. About 70% of our body is actually alkaline. If, for instance, I reduce the pH and make that acidic, say from 7.35 I make it 7.30, you know what? You will start to have difficulty of breathing. And if I drop that further to 7.20, for instance, it's not compatible to life. In other words, you will die. Now, there is one element there which is very necessary, and that's oxygen. So if we have more oxygen to react with fat, then we have produced more energy and we produce less waste. And the same is true. If we have less oxygen, as they react with fat, what happens? We may have energy, but we produce a lot of waste. And to me, waste is the killer. The question is, do we have enough oxygen? Well, many people will say, well, I'm breathing okay. Yeah, you're breathing all right, but take note that when you breathe in oxygen or you breathe in air, you are breathing in about 400 or 500 cc of air every time you breathe in. For the 500 cc of air that we breathe in, only about 20% of this is pure oxygen. Now, what is the 400 composed of? It is a mixture of pollutants. For instance, carbon monoxide is one pollutant, cyanide is one pollutant, hydrogen sulfide is another pollutant that we are breathing in the air, and we are not able to notice that. But the question is, are you breathing a real clean air? We are not. With all these cars running in the freeway, with all the industries all around us, we are not breathing pure air. Now, how does the body actually trap the oxygen if we breathe in? For instance, I would breathe in now, and you see that oxygen that we have taken in from the environment will go into our bloodstream, into the red blood cells. Okay, inside the red blood cells, what we call hemoglobin. And this oxygen will be trapped by your hemoglobin, and they would attach themselves into that hemoglobin. And the red blood cells, as the heart would pump the blood, it would distribute that to your 75 to 100 trillion cells. Now, the question is, when you breathe in oxygen, you are breathing in as well the pollutants, which is carbon monoxide, for instance. And carbon monoxide will also want to attach into the hemoglobin. So you see, as we breathe in, okay, we are able to breathe in oxygen, at the same time we breathe in carbon monoxide. And this substance, even with these two substances, will compete in their attachment to your hemoglobin. Now the question is, as they compete, carbon monoxide will always attach first. Why? Because we are told by science that carbon monoxide has a greater affinity to hemoglobin than oxygen, meaning it has 200 times faster. It moves 200 times faster to attach to hemoglobin. In other words, when you have these pollutants and oxygen, the pollutants will attach first. So we would lack that oxygen. And that's the reason why this company is able to come up with a product. When you take the product, there is an increased oxygenation in your body. Okay, this product, when dropped into the glass of water, there is an increase of oxygenation, and they call it nascent oxygen because it's a new oxygen that has been formed as a result of this formulation. Now, I'll be talking more about how important is this product actually in the body. First of all, because it is also a free radical neutralizer. Many people would say it's an antioxidant. I don't want to use the word because this product actually neutralizes the free radical. And free radical are the ones that scares a lot of people. Why? Because free radical are blamed as the one that would cause cancer. And everybody seems to be focused in that area. Free radical is positive oxygen. Okay? Meaning, if this is the formula, positive oxygen is 0 plus. Okay, that's positive. And this positive oxygen is also called reactive oxygen, meaning it has to look for a pair. Now, usually, if they are left that way unchecked, they will damage your cells. Now, nascent oxygen is negative oxygen. So, a positive oxygen and a negative oxygen, when they met, they produce a molecule of oxygen. And so the real free radical neutralizer is this product. I have been to many other companies and they talk about antioxidant. And in fact, they say that vitamins, all this from food are antioxidant. And that's the reason why I have come and joined this company, all because I was a believer that people must understand how important is oxygen to the body.